Hi everyone. I have been missing from the channel from earlier this year. Um, I've been diagnosed with cancer, and at the time of my last video, I didn't realize that although I was sick, I didn't realize it was cancer. No excuses that, to preach the gospel and share the good news. But today, as I was in prayer, I was in the prayer closet, and I just really felt like I was a failure in front of our Father's eyes and repenting for falling short and hoping, of course, that His grace and mercy will always cover. He reminded me, He is a Father first. And when He created us, He wanted us to be home with Him. Just like we have our kids here on earth, and we always want them to come home, whether it's for the holidays or just be home with us and permanently know where they are and always have a relationship with them. I felt His heart today when He said to me, I didn't create you to not come home. And as I have been sharing to people that we are in the last days, we don't know when that day is, but we know that this period is the last days. I want to remind everyone that the sacrifice of the blood of Jesus on the cross was for us to go home. It was for us to have that redemption, the grace to be able to know that not only that we're redeemed, but that we are righteously covered by His blood, only His blood, righteously redeemed back to our Father. And as such, He wants us to spend time with Him, whatever time that looks like, whether it's in the day, early morning, separate in your car, whatever it is, just take some time and then have the mindset to go home. He reminded me shortly after that prayer that He's still seeking holiness, righteousness, and purity. And just before I made this video, I jumped on real quick, distracted in watching a video, and I saw a pastor who was at a birthday party gracing the food. And in comedy, because that's the only thing I can interpret, in comedy, he was apologizing to Jesus for the twerking that was going to happen at the birthday party and some of the not so reverent behavior that he was asking the Lord to let the angels not see. Of course, I do not want to call the pastor's name, but we must remember that when we approach God, we must approach Him with holiness, reverence, fear. As I was reading earlier this year, Orthodox Jews in those days didn't even call God's name out of fear, holy fear, reverent fear. And oftentimes when I'm reminded not to call the Lord's name in vain, and I hear people call His name in vain as a curse word, profanity, or anything, or just an idle word, I realize that fear runs through me. So the three things today I realize that He is allowing me to remember, to share, is number one, to fear Him. And to fear Him is the beginning of wisdom. Fearing Him means that our words, our thoughts, and our deeds align with His purity, His righteousness, and His holiness. Also, we are His children. First, He wants us to spend time with us, to spend time with Him. He wants to spend time with Him. Just make time here and there in your day and make it special just for Him. To spend time with Him in His Word, in worship, in prayer, and just ask Him before you do everything and anything if this is His will or what He thinks about it. He wants to be included in those mundane tasks that we think are just things He wouldn't want to hear about or think about. or do. And lastly, get ready to go home. Get ready to go home. Constantly